This is my replica of an ancient Egyptian bonnet. The original is in the German Textile Museum in Krefeld, Germany. This is the front of the bonnet. Typical of a number of these bonnets is a chain line close to the brim of the front of the hat. This hat, like many others, has a non-stretchy red woven band that sits on the forehead. It's stitched to the front of the hat. You'd want small, tight loops here along this edge of your piece of spring. In recreating these bonnets, in trying ways to recreate the chain line, I think I discovered something. When I put the chain line in, it shrank down the loops at the edge, and I think this may be a reason for the chain line. You can use it for a similar effect. Here's how I do it. With sprang, you suspend your warp between two ends. I use metal knitting needles or rods to support the warp. No matter what you do, the loops at the ends of the warp have to be at least as large as the support. When I remove the support, you can see these loops. I might want to further reduce their size. To work this technique, I will want to somehow mark a row near the start of the work. Here I put in a string, just like a safety line. I'll use that green piece of yarn as a guide as I work. I take a crochet hook, and then I will chain all the way across, snugging down these loops at the edge. Let me zoom in for a closer view. With my crochet hook, I grab the first thread. I hope you can see how, when I pull on the thread, it shrinks the loop at the edge. I have the first thread on my crochet hook, and I grab the second thread. If I pull on that second thread, I can shrink down that second loop. Pull this direction, and then I bring the second thread through under the first thread. I take the next thread, traversing the green safety cord. I pull down, and then I take it through the loop. I grab the next thread, the next one across the green. I snug it down, and I pull it through. I take care not to pull from this way, but rather from the edge loop. Take the next one, snug it from the top, and bring it through. Take the next one, snug it from the top, and bring it through. Take the next one, snug it from the top, and bring it through. Take the next one, snug it from the top, and bring it through. And I work my way all the way across. Doesn't really take that long. I'm thinking you can see the chain line happening. And these loops across the top are now much smaller than they were before. They're much smaller than the remaining loops that haven't been snugged. I'm going to work this chain all the way across the row. At the far side, I have this loop, the last loop of the chain. In the Coptic bonnets I've seen, the last loop gets caught in the side seam as the bonnet is sewn up. Here I'm making a pair of fingerless gloves, and that loop will be caught in the seam. You can see the effect of the chain line, shrinking those initial loops all along the finger edge of the mitten. I'll fold the piece over to make a cylinder, the fingerless glove, and then I'll sew a seam. As I sew this seam, I'll make a kind of Kitchener stitch, so the chain seems to continue all the way around the edge of the mitten. And here I've started to sew up that side seam. I've joined the last loop to the first loop, so it makes a continuous chain, and then I continue my invisible seam down the side of the mitten. And here's the finished pair of mittens. The interlinking sprang stitch with the transpositions is very stretchy. It expands to accommodate my hand and snugs in at the wrists. That chain line has diminished the size of those edge loops, and the chain is as stretchy as the rest of the cloth. It's another idea from historical sources to add to your toolkit of finishing techniques.